Got GM Golf on the docket today. Definitely the most requested guest to come on this show. Sounds like he's here. He's not. Hate to break it to you, but we're going to be talking about him today. GM Golf uploading on his personal channel. He has three channels, kind of. He has this channel. He has his vlogs channel, which he hasn't uploaded to in a little while. He kind of comes back to and fro when it kind of, makes sense, when he feels like he's making a why I quit. When he feels like he wants to, when he feels like he has the time. Vlogging is one of those things, I've said this before, this is just a bit of an aside, that creators go to typically in my creator generation, like people my age, Garrett's age, because we all came up on like Casey Neistat daily vlogs. We tend to go back to it as like a creative outlet. So if we're feeling maybe a little bit, I can't really speak, I'm not speaking for Garrett because he hasn't actually said these words, but for me personally, I go back to vlogging usually when I feel like a bit of a creative lull, when I feel maybe a little bored in what I'm doing. And then typically it just re-sparks my passion for my main thing, and then I go back to it and then it's great. So it's like almost like a creative, like, I don't know, refresh button. So anyways, vlog channel, hasn't posted to it in a while. And then obviously he is the key member of Good Good. He is the big dog. He is definitely the face of Good Good and has been since its inception. He is a huge part of that. But what we're gonna be talking about today is specifically the revenue that we can mathematically estimate. Now, let me just make this very clear. Garrett has not told me, I said this in the beginning of every video, Garrett has not told me how much money he makes. He did not tell me what his CPMs and RPMs are, which we'll get to in a second. Like I said, I am in this specific YouTube golf niche, so using my own data, plus having behind the scenes chats with lots of creators, I have a very, very good estimated knowledge of where the CPMs, RPMs, and therefore revenues are sitting, and we have the ability to look at very, very accurate view data across days, months, years, etc. So that's what we're going to be used to giving you a very educated estimate of what Garrett Clark makes. All right, let's dive right into it. So for those of you who don't know, I thought I'd show this because I didn't do this in the last couple of videos. Creators make money usually in three different ways. Now, every creator is different and the portions of these are going to differ for sure, but the three main ways creator makes money is we have ad revenue. So ad revenue is what YouTube pays you. So once you reach a certain threshold, you can join the Google Partner Program, in which Google will place advertisements in front of, in between, and after your videos that you then get paid a portion of. Now, I get a lot of questions when I talk about ad revenue, creators specifically, when premium viewers watch a video. So if you have YouTube Premium, if you pay whatever it is, I pay for it, I don't even know how much it is, I think it's like 18 bucks a month or something like that, and you go and you watch, say, a Grant Horvath video, does Grant Horvath just not make any money off you? No. We get a portion of our ad revenue every month we can see comes from YouTube Premium views. And so essentially the way Google does it is like whatever fraction of a cent that you would get paid if one person watched your video and got an ad, that same fraction of a cent, essentially, the same value that you would get paid based off your CPM RPMs comes off a premium like fee, essentially. So we still make the same amount of money. So I'm just gonna bulk it all into ad revenue because then it all comes out in the wash. If everyone had a premium subscription, we'd still make the same amount of money relatively as we do if everyone has ads or it's 50-50 split. It doesn't really matter for us as a creator. So ad revenue, brand deals, this is another big one. So when we say brand deals, the stuff that you see on YouTube is the stuff that YouTube shows you. It's the stuff that YouTube curates, picks, sells the ads, whatever. But when you see a creator like pinpoint, just stop in their video and talk about a product. I watched Ben's video this morning, so I'm just gonna show you because it's a pretty good example. So I don't have any ads because I have YouTube Premium. But when you see this happen, when you see all of a sudden in the middle of the video, the creator of that content starts talking to you about a product and advertising a product, that is a brand deal that creator got outside of YouTube. YouTube allows you to put whatever you want inside your video. If you wanted to make an 18-minute collection of advertisements and still put ads from YouTube on it, you could. Probably get no views, but you could. So therefore, you can put whatever you want inside your video as long as it meets the community guidelines. So if you're marketing a healthy eating solution like Ben is for Factor here, and this is just an extra little plug, I guess, for Ben here. If any of you want to save 50% on Factor, this is crazy, I'm doing someone else's ad read right now, but you know what? I'm a YouTube golf guy, so let's support a YouTube golfer. Go ahead and scan this. I personally like Ben's videos a lot, so go ahead and scan that. But anyway, this is something that creators negotiate with those companies on their own. They'll figure out a rate. Sometimes smaller creators just do it for like product. Most of the time, the ones you're watching on YouTube Golf are getting, or should be getting paid to do it, are getting paid to do it. And usually you're gonna calculate that rate off of what you actually get paid from YouTube. Sometimes you go a little higher, it just depends. But these are all negotiated by the creator with the brand, and it's completely outside of YouTube. YouTube doesn't get a cut of these. This is all creator fed money. So most of the time, bigger creators will usually make more money off brand deals. Because let's say Google pays you, and we're gonna get into what CPMs and RPMs mean in a second, but let's say Google pays you $10 per 1,000 people that click. A very normal rate that a creator, especially in a golf space, could charge for an activation if you have a primarily American audience between the ages of like 16 and 55, you can usually get like a $20+ CPM, which means you can make double the money off your own sold brand deal than what you would make from YouTube, which makes sense because usually YouTube is, always YouTube is taking a cut of that money. So usually, if we're looking at it, this part of the pie for a lot of creators might look a bit more like this. We might have like 50% of the money coming from brand deals and only 25% coming from ad revenue. But what's this other little product here, or what's this other little category? Product sales. Now this is just me bulking every type of, you know, product, brand, whatever. I'll use Ben as an example again because we're just in this video right now. I think he plugs it like right at the beginning. He makes these little divot tools. He makes these little like Ben Haddon golf like divot repair tools and whatever. Or here's his hats. Always press hats. Ben has his own merch, right? This is creator products. This is a creator creating a product. Sometimes it's in partnership with a brand like Grant Horvath. Obviously now he is a part owner of Primo. So technically Primo's products are sort of like his creator products, but Logan Paul with Prime, Mr. Beast with Feastables, these are broader scale examples. Now, if you are like a Ben Haddon and you're a smaller creator or like an up and coming creator, you're not a Mr. Beast. Ben's obviously a good sized creator, but you're not a Mr. Beast. This might be accurate. You might be making most of your money still from brand deals. Obviously the product sales stuff, it can be lucrative, but at smaller scales, I've done this myself, it's usually not that lucrative because it costs a lot of money when you're purchasing smaller amounts of stuff, especially if you're not trying to just get like low quality crap from China. Like if you're trying to get good quality products, usually it's going to cost more money to, and I don't mean all products coming from China are crap, I just mean when you're like trying to get the best deal possible at the smallest order size, the quality is usually crap. So if you're not trying to do that, if you're trying to make good stuff, the costs are usually so high that if you're selling a hat, for example, again, I don't know how much Ben makes off his hats, but speaking from my experience, I remember when I sold hats, I would maybe make like $4, $5 a hats. Like the margins were so small. So even if you sell like 100 hats, you're making like $500, which is like, sounds like a lot, but like, you know, a creator of, let's, you know, say 100,000 subscribers, if you're pulling consistently, let's say 100,000 views, just for easy math's sake, there's absolutely no way you can't charge like somewhere in the neighborhood of like $5,000 for a brand activation. That wouldn't be crazy. So you make $5,000 just by talking about a brand for 30 seconds, or you can spend like weeks, months of your life trying to create this product to make $500. So usually smaller creators, this is kind of how it would look even if they sell products. But then when you get into the bigger creator stuff, obviously like the Bob to Sports, the Good, whatever, this changes drastically. Like for them, and I know we're not talking about them today, but for them, I would say you're looking at like, oh man, I don't know, like at least 60, probably even more. You could probably go like a higher percentage of like, I don't know, even like maybe like 75% of big creators with big creative brands, that revenue that comes from those versus their ad revenue and their brand deals. So creator-based products, if you can make it work, are the way to go. But it's hard and it's a lot more work than a lot of creators think. So anyways, that's a huge aside. I hope you guys enjoyed that little blip. I just wanted to kind of explain how usually creators make money at different sizes. So going into GM Golf, again, he doesn't have any direct product sales. Obviously he is good is him, but we're not going to be talking about that today. We're going to be talking about GM Golf specifically. So what he has coming in from Good, you're just going to know is there in the back of your mind, and obviously that's going to be on top of everything we're going to talk about today. But what I want to dive into before we get to everything is just exactly what these words I've been saying mean. CPM, so Google pays cost per milli, how much YouTube charges an advertiser per 1,000 views. And then the RPM is essentially the creator's take home. So this after the split with YouTube, how much the creator gets. Now these are specific to niches. So YouTube Golf has a very high CPM compared to like other genres because we have a very typically affluent audience that's willing to spend a lot of money. That's not just YouTube Golf. People get upset when I say that. Yo, I'm not rich and I play golf. I get it. But there's a reason why like Rolex and like all of these like business consulting companies advertise on the PGA Tour. Yes, not everyone watching it is rich, but there's a higher concentration of really wealthy people watching and playing golf than most other sports. So it's just a fact. So therefore, because we have such a target audience, it's a niche, companies making products for that niche, and it's pretty affluent, we have pretty high CPMs. We can see all the way up. I've seen $50 CPMs in YouTube Golf, which is crazy. But for today's estimates, we're going to be going $35 CPM and $20 RPM, which I think is a low but fair median estimate. I don't want to overestimate, but I don't want to be too crazy low. So that's what we're going to go with. Do I think Garrett sees higher CPMs at times? Absolutely. I think especially his videos that are like an hour and 8 minutes long, lots of ads can get slotted in there. There's definitely a good chance that some of these go up closer to that like $40, $50 mark. But there's also probably a ton that are much lower than that. If I don't really think he posts a ton of super short videos, but if he ever posts, you know, his vlog channel, for example, like I would guess those are much, much lower. I would guess those are maybe in the range of like $15, $20. So we'll take kind of that median $35 CPM. So let's dive into it. View stats, looking at everything he's got going on right now. So in the last 28 days, he's pulled 4 million views, a little down. I think it's just due to posting. We've talked about this a million times. I think if GM Golf was, if that's all he did, he obviously, his numbers would probably look more competitive to a lot of other bigger creators. But I mean, the fact that, you know, this is sort of a side quest for him and he's still pulling 4.16 million views in the last 28 days, growing 30,000 subscribers a month, like that is very solid. That is very, very impressive stuff. So anyways, we're going to take that first 28 days first, show you approximately what he's made in the last month. So we have 4.16 million views divided by 1,000 to get 4,160 advertising units for sale by YouTube. You take that at a $35 CPM. That means Google has sold $145,600 in advertising revenue based off just GM Golf's views of that month. And then we take his split, which is we're estimating a $20 RPM. You get $83,000 in money going to GM Golf off the last 28 days of views. Again, just a mathematical estimate, but I do think it's, you know, relatively close to what it could be accurate. So last 28 days, obviously we can expand this a little bit. I think it's interesting to see. So if we look at the year to date, he's actually up about over half a million views from the previous year, which is good. He's up a ton for subscribers, 67,000 on average of his gain. He's gained 283K in the last year, just it's a lot, obviously past a million. We got 59 million views. So if we take 59 million views and apply all the same math to it, 59,000 advertising units, we get $2 million in CPM, so advertising sold by YouTube, and 1.18 million in RPM, essentially money that would be take home for the creator would be 1.8 based off these metrics. So that's pretty solid. It's very solid. If we go look at the year, we can look real quick just to kind of, or sorry, at the lifetime, 270 million. How much would that equate to? Essentially CPM 9.5 million and RPM about 5.5 million in total advertising revenue over the life of the channel. Been uploading videos for a very, very long time. But one thing I wanted to do that's a little different, because I think these numbers are cool, but it's kind of hard to have any type of like, all right, well, what does that mean? Like, obviously, if I was, you know, this is a really good annual salary for most people. So you have good perception of like, oh, that's great. He's making really good money. But there's obviously costs and stuff associated with it. The reason why I haven't talked about costs in the previous videos is it's just going to be such a guess. But the two that I felt like I could talk about, because I've experienced these firsthand, is what he would potentially be paying an editor and what he would be potentially paying in travel costs per year. So this is just again, a mathematical estimate, a rough estimate. I would guess if you're paying someone to shoot, edit your videos full time at this scale, this is probably not crazy far off. Like when I've paid editors in the past, if you just extrapolate it over a full year, like it's not crazy. Like usually you're actually gonna pay a little less on a per video basis than if you just had an editor charge you. But you know, a top tier YouTube editor could definitely be making, what is definitely, I would say definitely making 6 figures, and could definitely be making even higher than this. This is just kind of what I think is like a good fair estimate of, not even necessarily what GM's paying Ryder, but just in general, based off my experience, what an editor would be paid on an annual basis, and an editor especially that shoots and edits the videos. So let's say 120 to 150, and then travel costs. Ree and I, we travel for, trips every once in a while, whether it be going down to events or whatever. Usually we're somewhere in the neighborhood of $5,000 to $10,000, but we're staying at like Red Roof Inns. I'm just gonna go ahead and assume that Garrett probably doesn't stay at the Red Roof Inn. So I'm gonna put his travel costs at like $10,000 a trip, usually multiple people coming, a few other things going on. If I just divided 52 weeks of the year in half, if we say half the year he's traveling for good stuff, for GM Golf stuff, which I think is probably a high estimate, to be honest, but then again, I don't know how much he's spending on every trip. That would equate to about $250,000 in travel expenses. So if we take that, add that together, we're looking at about $400,000 in total expenses for the year. take that off of 1.18 million, and then obviously taxes and all that kind of stuff, I do think this travel cost is probably very high. I don't think he's traveling 26 times a year just based off his upload schedule, but someone like Grant is probably traveling 26 times a year. So that's just kind of why I took this estimate. I'm sure it fluctuates, but just to give you guys a bit of a ballpark instead of just seeing the total numbers, because everyone likes to comment that like, oh, well, that's definitely not what he's, and it's very true. That's definitely not, you know, what he's making cash money. But anyway, so this is just off his GM Golf channel. Now, obviously, there's some revenue coming from Garrett Clark Vlogs. To be honest, I don't even know. Let's see if I can even find this on here, and I can just give you guys a quick. All right, Garrett Clark Vlogs shows up. So last 28 days, he's still pulled 46,000 views. I mean, it's not terrible for not uploading. And the last year, 4.22 million. So I mean, that's basically like his first month on here. Although I think his CPMs are going to be much lower. So I don't think he's making $86,000 on basically the same amount of views. I think it would be way lower. I think this might not even be like crazy far off. Anyways, this is, you know, a side quest, a side revenue stream. Now, obviously, there is a huge one that Garrett is attached to that, you know, we'll do a video on Good at some point, like one of these videos, how much Good makes again off ad revenue. Problem is that Good, if we're looking at this pie chart, like I think it's very much like Bob the Sports. When you have creator brands that are successful, that is such a big part of it. And I would have no sweet clue or ability at all to not only estimate how much they make, but also what kind of, like, I have no idea. I don't know if Garrett's, I'm assuming he's a part owner, I guess, but like, I don't know anything. You guys got to remember, I wear the clothes. I'm just sponsored by them. I'm not part of them. I don't have any real crazy inside knowledge. Like, this is what I do. I'm sponsored by them. I'm a talking billboard. That's it. So anyways, I can only assume that it's a big product or a big portion. I can assume obviously that he does have revenue coming from them that maybe even is greater than the revenue coming from his own channel. I don't know. So that's why I wanted to stick to the stuff I do know. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I like making these. I know you guys like watching them for the most part. So comment down below who you want to see next and any other questions. You know, I get these ideas from you guys and seeing your comments of like, oh, like this breakdown, or like even like my little cost thing at the end here. Like, this is all coming from your comments. So comment down below what you think you'd like to know, if there's something I can add to these videos to make them more interesting for you guys. That's it. I'll see you in the next one.